Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain the 5 menopause diet tricks and hacks that you need to know right now that's going to turn your body into a fat-burning furnace even when you're in menopause or perimenopause or post-menopause. We're going to go over these 5 tricks right now. They're easy, they're simple, but you got to do them. Don't just watch this or listen to me and then not do anything about it. You got to actually apply these things, but we're going to make it really easy. Let's dive in. The first thing is called the dinner rule. Trick number 1, don't eat carbs at dinner. That's the dinner rule, okay? Think about it this way. At dinner, at night, your body is slowing down. It's trying to get ready for a sleep cycle. We're mammals, okay? You're producing melatonin. Your cortisol is going down. Your body is going to slow down its own metabolism through the evening and night so you can sleep a full 8 hours without having to get up and eat and drink water and go to the bathroom every an hour or two. So your body's getting ready for this. If you eat carbs at dinner, now I'm not talking about vegetables, by the way. I'm talking about the real carbs, fruits, corn, peas, pasta, potatoes, things like this. If you're eating carbs at night at dinner, this is raw energy. The body doesn't need the energy. It's not going to use it. Okay, so it won't have anything to do with it except store it as fat. So this is why, unfortunately, most Americans don't eat breakfast. We're going to talk about the 1 hour rule next, but they don't eat breakfast. They eat a small lunch and then they have a massive dinner, spaghetti. They've got alcohol, wine, whatever, and dessert. They're putting all these carbs into their body at night. They don't do anything. Their activity is down. They're getting ready for the sleep cycle. No wonder everyone is overweight. We're eating totally wrong, totally opposite. So the dinner rule, number 1 trick for menopause weight loss, don't eat carbs at dinner. Don't eat carbs at dinner. And now, vegetables like lettuce, asparagus, zucchini, cucumber, broccoli, things like that. Those are different. Those are vegetables. Those are like green leafy vegetables. I don't consider those carbohydrates. Those are fine at dinner. Just not the classic carbs, okay? Let's look at the second trick for menopause weight loss, and that is called the 1 hour rule. You want to be eating breakfast generally within about an hour of when you wake up. Oh, what about all these people that say you should be fasted and you should go all this time? Not for menopause. Actually, it's really not good for anyone. People can lose weight doing that, time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting, but it catches up with you. It wrecks your body. Just when you're younger, you don't notice it as much, but when you're in menopause, it'll really twist you. It'll throw your hormones out of whack. It cranks up your cortisol. It slows down your metabolism. It's not a good idea. Instead, you want to eat within an hour of getting up. Eating actually stimulates your metabolic rate. There's 2 ways of stimulating your metabolism, through eating and through exercise. Exercise is obviously external, where the eating is internal. And you want both, but the eating has a greater impact than the exercise. And the exercise obviously has a flaw. You can't exercise all the time. It's too stressful. So when you are able to use food to increase your metabolic rate as well as exercise, that is a sweet spot. So you want to eat within an hour of getting up. That's the ideal. That's the gold standard. And you want to make sure you have a good breakfast, that you're combining the right foods, you're eating the right foods for the morning and not the afternoon or evening. You actually want carbs at breakfast, okay? You don't want them at dinner, you want them at breakfast. But you also want to make sure you're eating. Don't wait 2, 3, 4, 5 hours after you get up before eating. That's very stressful on the body. And remember, if you've seen some of my other lessons, one of the big differences in menopause is your body can't handle stress as much. So even though these things might have worked in your 20s or 30s, they're still not healthy. You were just able to get away with them when you were younger. When you hit menopause, you're not able to get away with them anymore. That's the difference, okay? Let's look at the third trick. This is called the threshold rule. All of our bodies have thresholds, and we have different types of thresholds. You've got a pain threshold. You've got a a temperature, a heat-cold threshold, a stress threshold, a sleep threshold, you know. You also have food thresholds. One example is vitamin C. Okay, if you take too much vitamin C at once and you go over your threshold, you're not going to use the extra vitamin C. You're going to pee it out. Well, you also have a protein threshold, a carbohydrate threshold, and a fat threshold. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, if you eat over that threshold, and everyone's thresholds are different, and they can change over time, but if you eat over your threshold, you have too much protein or carbs or fats or all of them, you will digest all of it. Okay, so I'm not saying you don't digest it. You do. You digest it. Your body will use whatever it can or whatever it needs. Anything above the threshold is going to get stored as fat for later. Okay? Now, here's what you need to remember. If you eat correctly, okay, the body's going to use all the food you eat. You'll never store any fat. If you don't eat correctly, and this is one example, your body will store some or a lot of what you're eating as fat. Now you have to coax that back out of your fat cells before you can start burning additional body fat. One of the tricks is you never want to be storing fat. Okay? And if you go above your threshold, you store fat. Then you have to get that fat back out before you can start burning off the additional fat. It's way harder. This is why a lot of people end up having to cut calories, which has a lot of side effects. If you do it right in the first place, and you're not storing any of the food you eat as fat, then you don't have to cut calories, and you don't have any of the side effects. There's a big difference. That's trick number 3, though, the threshold rule. Let's look at trick number 4. You want to be lowering your saturated fats. Again, I don't know where this came from. It's a couple years old now, but all of a sudden, out of the blue, oh my gosh, we were wrong for the last 70 years. Saturated fats aren't bad. They're fine. Go ahead and eat the saturated fats. We've been wrong this whole time. They don't cause any problem. Okay, that's not true. I don't know where these things come from. Okay, while saturated fats aren't like terrible, they may not directly cause heart disease, they still have other issues, big time. Now, there's many different types of fats. There's 10 that most of us get. You know, you have trans fats, which are, everyone agrees that those are bad. Although I'm sure soon someone will say they're fine and do some sort of trans fat diet, but don't fall for that. Trans fats are bad. Everyone agrees on that. Saturated fats have a lot of problems. They can cause insulin resistance. They can cause atherosclerosis, or your plaque buildup in your arteries. They get stored as fat more easily than other fats. So if you had omega-3 fats versus eating saturated fats, the omega-3 fats rarely get stored as body fat, whereas the saturated fats often get stored as body fat very easily. So there are a lot of differences. One of the big problems I see with my clients and other women in menopause is they're eating too many fats, specifically too many saturated fats. And I've had clients who are insulin resistant or pre-diabetic or even diabetic, and it's very obvious when you're in that situation because your body's way more sensitive. When they eat too many saturated fats, they put on fat. If they cut the saturated fats and replace it with omega-3, they lose weight. They lose body fat. Like, it's night and day. We can track it. It's a perfect correlation. So there's a lot of misinformation, obviously. Oh, saturated fats are fine. You should go ahead and have the fatty meats and the ribs and this. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. Okay? Someone inevitably will comment on this video and say, what about these people that are doing, ketogenic diets and carnivore diets and eating all these high-fat things, and they're still losing weight? What I'm saying is, sure, you can lose weight. It's not the best way to lose weight. It causes problems down the road. And what I'm sharing are little tricks that you can use that will help you lose weight faster and easier and in a more healthy, sustainable way. This is one of them. All right, the last trick, number 5. What do we got here? cut this type of carb. Liquid carbs. Liquid carbs. And I'll give you an example. Oat milk is very trendy all of a sudden. Oat milk is milk from oats. This is a carb. So if you look at the side of the oat milk, when you look at the nutrition label, I don't know, 14, 20 carbs, something like that. It's in liquid form. Those carbs will instantly hit your blood and spike your blood sugar like drinking a soda. Well, that's another liquid carb, or a soft drink, or a juice. Avoid the liquid carbs. Liquid carbs don't require any digestion. You might as well just have a pixie stick. I mean, it's going to hit your blood sugar and crank it like no other. And so a lot of women who I've worked with over the years are using oat milk because they're like, well, I can't have milk. Okay, I gotcha. Maybe they're allergic to nuts, so maybe they're not doing almond milk. Okay, I gotcha. And they don't like soy, so they're not doing soy milk. Okay, I gotcha. And so they've gotten and arrived on oat milk. Well, that's just as bad for another reason, okay? So you want to be careful. Coconut milk is very popular. Well, a lot of the coconut milks have a ton of sugar in them as well. Yes, sure, it's fine. It's a natural sugar, but it's in liquid form. And so when that hits your body, it goes right into the blood. It spikes your blood sugar. It cranks up your insulin. This will absolutely prevent you from losing fat. Now, I've done a whole lesson all about insulin. I don't want you to be confused about it. Insulin can help you. Check out the lesson. It can help you burn fat. You just got to know how to control it. Having liquid carbs sends it out of control. That's the difference. So you want to look and make sure you're not getting any liquid carbs or ultra-processed carbs. I'll give you another example. Applesauce. Okay, eating an apple versus having applesauce generally will have a very different impact on the body. The apple, you have to chew it. It's got more fiber, more substance to it. It takes longer to eat. The applesauce goes right in there. It doesn't require much digestion, so it gets digested and passed through everything so much faster. Anytime you eat something that has been ground down or processed or smushed up, it's going to require less digestion on your part. That's going to have a very different impact on your body. Again, this is why it's more complex than calories or macros. You have to eat the right food at the right time in the right combination and understand how some of these different foods will impact your body. Follow these 5 tricks. It's really going to help with weight loss and menopause. Now, I'm going to splash up 2 videos. You're going to want to check these out. Nutrition and exercise videos that dive deep into some of these nuances so that you can really start learning some of the details that not a lot of people understand or talk about. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you over there, and take care.